morning. Thank you for tuning in to Friday's edition of Quick Morning. I'm Samiksha Srivastava. We'll be closely tracking Prime Minister's visit to Ukraine. First visit by an Indian Prime Minister in 45 years. That and much more. Let's get started. Prime Minister Modi is en route to Kiev for high-level discussions with President Zelenskyy. Following his visit to Warsaw, Prime Minister Modi is undertaking the journey by train under stringent security measures. The trip is approximately 10 hours. Prime Minister's visit, which spans 7 hours in Kiev, will include both bilateral and delegation-level meetings. The primary focus of these discussions will be exploring avenues to address the ongoing conflict in Ukraine. Note that India has maintained a neutral position on the Russia-Ukraine war, advocating for resolution by dialogue and diplomacy. Defense Minister Rajnath Singh is on a 4-day visit to the US starting today till the 26th. The visit aims to enhance strategic partnership between India and the US. In fact, during his stay in Washington, D.C., he will hold meetings with key officials, which includes his US counterpart Lloyd Austin and National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan as well. In fact, the discussions are expected to cover topics such as India's planned acquisition of potential joint manufacturing of combat vehicles and the co-production of engines. Rajnath Singh will also lead a roundtable with US defense industry representatives and engage with the Indian community in the US. With elections approaching in J&K, Congress leader Rahul Gandhi and Mallikarjun Kharge are visiting the region to negotiate a pre-poll alliance with the National Conference. Meanwhile, BJP leader Ram Madhav is also in the region. Rahul Gandhi emphasized that any coalition formed will not compromise on the interests of Congress party workers. This, in fact, follows the Election Commission of India's announcement of the electoral schedule for the region. The Assam government has introduced a bill that to repeal the Assam Muslim Marriages and Divorce Registration Act of 1953. Revenue Minister presented the bill, citing concerns that the current law may facilitate child marriages and lacks effective monitoring as well, monitoring mechanism that is. The bill seeks to address these issues by eliminating the existing Registration Act and associated ordinances. And India is celebrating its inaugural National Space Day today in recognition of the successful Chandrayaan mission, Chandrayaan 3 mission. The mission achieved a historic soft landing on the moon's southern pole last year. The government has designated the day to foster interest in space science and technology. To commemorate this occasion, the Department of Fisheries will also conduct seminars and demonstrations showcasing the applications of space technology in fisheries sector, which is going to be in collaboration with the ISRO and other partners. Top Court will review Delhi Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal's bail application in the liquor scam case today. Kejriwal has challenged his arrest and requested a bail. The court had previously granted interim bail in a related case. If granted bail in this case as well, Kejriwal may be released from custody. The Rouse Avenue Court is set to deliver a verdict regarding the bail plea of 4 co-owners of a building involved in the case related to, of 3 students at a coaching institute in Old Rajendra Nagar in the national capital. The CBI has opposed their bail, arguing that the investigation is still in process and that the accused hold significant influence. 2 women journalists have reportedly been assaulted, allegedly by Congress workers in a village in Telangana district. This is in the hometown of Chief Minister Revanth Reddy. In fact, according to reports, the journalists were attacked while covering a story on farm loan waiver. They reported that their camera was destroyed and that their phones were taken as well. The incident has drawn calls for intervention from high-profile Congress leaders and the Press Council of India as well. The Rouse Avenue Court will examine the case against former Wrestling Association President Brij Bhushan Sharan Singh, who faces allegations of sexual exploitation of women wrestlers. The court is scheduled to record the statements of a complained wrestler as part of the ongoing proceedings. And those were our top stories. Let's now take a look at all that's making news and headlines from the world of business. top court has refused to grant a stay on the Committee of Creditors meeting, which was formulated by resolution professionals to proceed with the insolvency of troubled India's edtech major Byju's. The coaching institute was established on 21st August that moved by senior Byju's advocate Sanghvi, beg your pardon, this is Abhishek Manu Singhvi, who was arguing for the Byju's that the committee was formed without a prior court approval and described the process as unfair. He contended that the formation of the COC was a strategic maneuver to make his arguments irreversible. Solicitor General of India Tushar Mehta, who represented the board of BCCI, also sought a stay on the COC meeting with the top court's decision to allow the COC meeting to proceed. The insolvency process for Byju's is now set to move forward, impacting the company's restructuring efforts and financial negotiations going forward. Union Commerce Minister Piyush Goyal emphasized that while India welcomes e-commerce platforms, they must operate fairly and honestly. Union Minister even expressed concerns about predatory pricing practices by e-commerce firms. Piyush Goyal responded to the recent announcements, which included Amazon's pledge to invest $1 billion in India. He stated that such investments may not always align with the best interests of the Indian economy. Piyush Goyal further reiterated that Indian government is open to foreign direct investments and technological advancements, but further stressed that the fair competition and integrity are crucial going forward. Chairman Kumar Mangalam Birla announced that Hindalco Industries is set to invest $10 billion to expand its operations. During this meeting, he even detailed a range of projects which are aimed at boosting the company's aluminum and copper production capabilities. Hindalco note aims to increase its footprint in the US with the expansion of its May Minute operations in Novelis. Birla emphasized the role of Hindalco's metals in driving sustainable progress. For the first quarter of the current financial year, Hindalco reported a 25% increase in net profit, while revenues have grown manifold by over 15%. And one of the top international stories that we will be tracking today is going to be Rajnath Singh's visit to the US. He will be holding crucial discussions with his US counterpart, Lloyd Austin, the US Secretary of State of Defense. That and much more. Let's get started. The US Defense Department has confirmed that second aircraft carrier, the USS Abraham Lincoln, has been deployed to the Middle East. The movement of the Abbey into the Cantacom AOR was directed by Secretary Austin earlier this month. In fact, this was done as part of both adjustments to the US military posture in the region designed to improve US force protection. In fact, this move also comes as Iran threatens retaliation against Israel following the assassination of Hamas leader Ismail Haniyeh in Tehran.
So as you saw yesterday, U.S. Central Command announced that the USS Abraham Lincoln, equipped with F-35C aircraft, entered the CENTCOM area of responsibility. The movement of the Abe into the CENTCOM AOR was directed by Secretary Austin earlier this month as part of broad adjustments to U.S. military posture in the region designed to improve U.S. force protection.
Meanwhile, Republican presidential candidate J.D. Vance has criticized Kamala Harris on crime and border security issues. During a campaign visit to Georgia with his running mate, the GOP is targeting battleground states to shift attention from Democrats' celebration of Kamala Harris' presidential nomination in Chicago. In fact, J.D. Vance note is stated that it is interesting that they are running and trying to pretend to be tough on crime people.
I read the headlines. Brian Kemp and Donald Trump have had some disagreements. I am 100% guarantee you that Brian Kemp is behind this ticket. He wants us to win because he believes the policies of Kamala Harris are disastrous for this country, and he's exactly right about that.
Intense shelling broke out between Israel and Hezbollah along the Israel-Lebanon border. Smoke was seen billowing from the Qiyam town, which was heavily shelled by the Israeli forces. In fact, in response, Hezbollah struck the Israeli border town of Metula, which is near Lebanon border region. For over 10 months now, Israel and Hezbollah have been exchanging strikes amid Israel's ongoing conflict with Hamas, an ally of Hezbollah. Israeli ambassador to the UN, Danny Denin, criticized the organization that the United Nations failed to acknowledge the victims of the 7th of October Hamas attack. He even pointed out that despite the United Nations marking the International Day of Remembrance for Victims of Terror, there was no mention of Israeli victims in the UN's exhibit, suggesting that the events of 7th of October were overlooked.
تخريب حقيقة واضح، تخريب وهمجي وبطريقة متعمدة. أنا بتقديري هو بس من أجل إنه خلص ما يضل في هناك مقومات للحياة في داخل المخيم. التخريب زي ما أنتم شايفين، لا في شوارع، لا في بنيان، لا في مي، لا في صرف صحي، الكهرباء فوق كلها متقطعة، شبكات الإنترنت كلها.
Venezuela's top court has supported President Maduro's claim that he won last month's presidential election and said that the online voting results showed that he lost were falsified. The ruling note is part of Maduro's efforts to address protests and international criticism following the disputed 28th of July voting where he was running for third consecutive term. The High Court, known for its support of Maduro, rarely disagrees with the government. The decision, in fact, was announced on Thursday at an event with top court officials and diplomats responded to Maduro's request to review the vote totals, which he claimed, without evidence, were affected by a foreign cyber attack from North Macedonia. Russian President Vladimir Putin held a call with local governors to discuss the situation in the region bordering Ukraine. The acting governor of Kursk region that was attacked by the Ukraine forces reported that more than 133,000 people have been evacuated from conflict-affected areas. The governor of the region also informed Vladimir Putin about emergency evacuation efforts, the training that was conducted for the border areas. During the call, Putin even claimed that Ukraine had attempted to strike the Kursk region's nuclear power plant and that Moscow has notified the IAEA, expecting the agency to send experts to evaluate the situation for themselves. Iraqi Prime Minister Mohammad Shia al-Sudani held a meet with Saudi Foreign Minister in Baghdad. In fact, according to a statement that's been issued from al-Sudani's office, they discussed the political and economic aspects of the relationship, the ties that are shared between Iraq and Saudi Arabia. They also reviewed recent regional developments and the impact of ongoing aggression in the Gaza region. The Canadian government has ordered Canada's two main freight railroads to settle their labour dispute through arbitration after the deadline passed. The Canadian National and CPKC locked out their workers. Once the arbitration begins, the railroads say trains will start running again.
In the current collective bargaining negotiations between Canadian National Railway, Canadian Pacific Kansas City, and the Teamsters Canada Rail Conference, an agreement has so far proven elusive. After months of negotiations, CN Rail and CPKC began lockouts while Teamsters Canada rail workers at CPKC went on strike at 12:01 a.m. this morning. These collective bargaining negotiations belong to these parties.
Uncommitted delegates who oppose U.S. support for Israeli military operations in Gaza stated that they will want Democrats to feature a Palestinian-American speaker on stage. An uncommitted delegate from Washington stated that it's incredibly soul-crushing to have their voices shut out of the convention.
We are here because our delegates, our uncommitted delegates of the Democratic National Party, had heard that we will not be having a speaker, a Palestinian speaker, to speak on the experience of Palestinian Americans as we are watching our tax dollars being used to kill our family members, our neighbors, and our loved ones. This movement is not only about getting a speaker on the main stage, this movement has been about not another bomb. But before that, I would really love for the press to hear from the uncommitted delegates who have been here out all night with the demand that Palestinian voices be heard from the main stage, because we are Democrats. This movement has been rooted in the Democratic Party for change.
A small plane crashed into a muddy swamp near Bangkok that killed all 9 people who were on board. A video that showed pieces of the plane in water in the middle of a wooded area also surfaced. The plane lost radar contact shortly after taking off from the Suvarnabhumi airport. Despite rescue efforts, no survivors were found. The plane was en route Trat, a coastal province about 275 kilometers southeast of the Thai capital. Thousands of demonstrators in Jakarta attempted to storm the parliament building to protest controversial revisions to the country's election laws. Some were met with tear gas shells and water cannons after tearing down a section of fence and throwing rocks at police. Protesters occupied roads in front of the building. Some held banners and signs, while others started a fire and burned tires as well. After the large protest gathered in front of the parliament building, the Deputy Speaker of Parliament stated that Indonesian lawmakers cancelled plans to ratify the revisions. Welcome back. You're watching Quick Morning. I'm Samiksha Srivastava. Let's now take a look at all the action that we're tracking from the world of sports. Cristiano Ronaldo's attempt to secure a victory for Al Nassr was thwarted by a narrow offside call. Ronaldo thought that he had scored the winning goal in the 76th minute of their league opener against Al Raid, but the decision was overturned. Despite Ronaldo's 2 goals in the game, Al Nassr had to settle for a 1-1 draw. The goalkeeper of the match played a pivotal role in the match with a series of crucial saves, particularly against Sadio Mane and Aymeric Laporte, frustrating the home crowd and ensuring the game ended in a draw. Keegan Bradley made a dramatic turnaround in the PGA Tour postseason after a nerve-wracking wait to see if he would advance. Bradley delivered a standout performance at the BMW Championship on Thursday. The newly appointed US Ryder Cup curtain shot a 6 under 66, securing the lead in the tournament. Bradley, who was the last to qualify for the 50-man field at Castle Pines, had been anxiously monitoring the FedEx Cup standings on his phone as he awaited confirmation of his spot. His impressive play in the mile-high air of Colorado has set him as a strong contender for the championship. Tennis player Carlos Alcaraz and Daniil Medvedev were seen practicing together in the stadium on Thursday, gearing up for the upcoming US Open. Medvedev, who bested Alcaraz in last year's semi-finals before falling to Djokovic in the final, has been preparing intensively for the tournament. The US Open is set to begin on Monday with matches running through September 8th. Both players are looking to make significant strides in this year's event, with Alcaraz aiming for redemption and Medvedev seeking to improve on his past performance. The Seattle Mariners have decided to part ways with manager Scott Savias following a disappointing season. The decision comes amid a 2-month collapse that saw the team squander a 10-game division lead following the edges of playoff contention in the American League. Mariners Executive Vice President of Baseball Preparations, Jerry DePoto, cited the need for a new voice in the clubhouse as a primary reason for change. Dan Wilson, a former Seattle catcher and longtime member of the organization, has been appointed as the interim manager.
The pitch from Acevedo. A drive deep to right field. Down the line. The Mariners win this game 2-1.
Golfer Charlie Hull is leading the Open Championship after the first round played in the challenging windy conditions at St Andrews. The English golfer finished with a score of 5 under par, holding a slender lead over American Nelly Korda and China's roaring Yin, who are both one stroke behind. The tough wind conditions tested the players' skills, making the round particularly challenging. 6 other players managed to score 3 under par, demonstrating strong performances despite the difficult weather condition. And those were our top sports stories. Let's now take a look at all that's making news from the world of glitz and glamour. Amar Kaushik's latest film, Stree 2, is proving to be a massive hit at the box office just a week after its release. The movie, which is a much anticipated sequel to the 2018 hit Stree, has quickly approached the 300 crore mark globally. Kaushik expressed his surprise and excitement over the film's success, stating that they were confident that the film was good, but they did not expect that it would get these big numbers. The film's strong performance at the box office can be attributed to its impressive opening weekend. Stree 2 debuted with over 50,000 crore and reached 100 crore within just 3 days' time. Additionally, Anushka Sharma is set to return to Mumbai after spending several months in London following the birth of her second child. Sharma's recent Instagram post hints at her return for a promotional event in Mumbai, where she will engage with fans as part of her role as a brand ambassador. On small screen, Tarak Mehta Ka Ulta Chashma fans have been speculating about the departure of popular character Abdul, portrayed by Sharad Sankla. A recent promo that featured Abdul's disappearance led to rumors about the actor leaving the show. However, Sankla has confirmed that he will continue to be a part of the series, saying that he will be a part of the show for as long as it runs. In other news, Rani Mukherjee is set to return to big screen with Mardani 3 following her acclaimed performances in Mardani franchise. Mukherjee will reprise her role as SP Shivaji Roy, a determined cop tackling severe crimes. Details about the plot of Mardani 3 are yet to be revealed. Nick Jonas shared his thoughts on his acting career and future plans. He expressed his belief that learning is a continuous process for performers. Jonas even highlighted his ongoing activities in both music and acting and shared excitement for his upcoming projects as well.
I think the learning never stops for any performer of any kind, and that's the fun of it. I've been fortunate enough to stay busy, whether it's acting or music, and my thought is to continue to stay busy. So I'm playing shows with the brothers end of this year, and then on to a Broadway show next year, which will be really exciting and something I'm really looking forward to.
And with that, it's a wrap on this edition of our broadcast, but stay tuned for all the top stories after this very short break.